I swear to you, when I first saw her there at the edge of my property, rifle in hand, sun glinting off the barrel, I thought, no way, this can't be real, right? But there she was, Karen, the infamous HOA president, standing on the dirt track just outside my fence, face beet red, arm shaking AR-15 in a death grip, and shouting across the dry grass like we were about to have an Old West showdown. "You're trespassing on HOA land. I'll defend it if I have to." Her finger, I kid you not, was stabbing at the air with every word as if that was the real weapon. I wasn't armed. I was in boots, a flannel, hands half up heart, trying to break out of my ribs, and she didn't care that I was standing on my own land. She'd already started calling the cops, voice shrill enough to make the crows scatter from the fence posts. I know you're thinking, what the hell happened before this? Yeah, let me back up a second. Name's Daniel Brooks. I'm 36, a veteran, and after years scraping by in the Army, I finally landed somewhere I could call my own, a 30-acre ranch inherited from my uncle just outside this little HOA-worshipping neighborhood in Colorado. My uncle never had patience for the rules and newsletters and fake politeness, especially not for the Whispering Pines HOA and their queen bee Karen McBride. You want to picture mid-50s hairset so hard it wouldn't move in a tornado, always with a clipboard and a look that said she could run the whole country better if they'd let her. Her husband, Steve, he's the opposite, soft-spoken, always in a golf shirt, probably dreaming of the day he could retire somewhere with less drama. Now the thing is, my ranch has never not once been part of the HOA. Not on paper, not by handshake. But Karen, she believed otherwise. She'd cornered my uncle about it before, tried everything short of threats. And when I moved in, I kept my head down, waved at folks, fixed the fence along the property line, stayed out of her way. I thought, if I just did my own thing, maybe she'd forget I existed. Instead, I started getting letters, handwritten at first, then the official kind stamped and all. "Your barn color violates HOA guidelines. Unauthorized livestock, $200 fine. Goats on a ranch." Can you believe that? At first I ignored it, figured it was a mix-up. But then came a note nailed right to my gate. Failure to comply will result in escalation. I realized right then Karen didn't just have too much time on her hands, she was dangerous. I tried being reasonable. I caught her once pruning her roses and told her as politely as I could, "Ma'am, I'm not part of your HOA." She didn't even glance at me. "Your uncle never signed, but we're working on correcting that. You'll be hearing from our lawyer." My jaw hit the ground. I called the county office. They confirmed it, my land was separate, always had been. So I did what any sane man would do. I built a better fence. Tall, sturdy, clear as day. Karen stormed over, sun hat flapping, camera waving, yelling, "You can't do that without an HOA permit." I couldn't help it. I laughed. That set her off like fireworks. "You'll regret this." She spat and marched off. Next thing I know, there's a pickup truck parked outside my land at odd hours, engine idling, watching. I asked one of the HOA board members, George, a nice old-timer, what was up. He leaned in, eyes shifty. "Karen's building a case. Says you're a nuisance, endangering pets." I said, "George, it's a ranch. There's noise. There's animals. That's life." He just shrugged. Then things started getting weird. One morning my goats are out, gates wide open. Not busted, just unlatched. I check my trail cam. Blurry, but you can see a floppy garden hat at midnight. Sheriff comes out, takes a report. "She didn't step on your land," he says. "Nothing we can do." I wanted peace, so I hosted a cookout. Invited the whole neighborhood, figured some food and music might cool things off. Most folks showed, even Steve, but not Karen. Halfway through, a drone buzzes over the grill. I swat it out of the air. Turns out it was Karen's. Next day, she accuses me of destroying HOA property. That was it. I lawyered up, had a cease and desist drafted. Before I could even send it, Karen slapped a lien on my property over $3,000 and made up HOA fines. I wasn't even under their rules. It all snowballed from there. One morning I spot Karen's truck by the old fence line. She's armed, AR-15 and all. "You're trespassing," she shouts. "This is my land," I yell back, hands up. She's already on the phone with 911. That's when the sheriff's SUV rolls in. Dust everywhere, sirens off, Deputy Caldwell stepping out, hand on his holster, looking like he's seen it all before. Ma'am, set the rifle down, he says. Karen screaming. He threatened me. He's not allowed here. Caldwell doesn't blink. Ma'am, this is his property. Karen goes white, then red again, yelling about maps and votes and board decisions. Caldwell shakes his head. You can't vote someone's property into your HOA. She slams the rifle down, storms off yelling. This isn't over. Caldwell leans in, voice low. She just lost it, Daniel. She thinks she's right. I asked, what are you gonna do? He sighs. File a report. But unless she pointed it at you, DA probably won't do much. Be ready. She's not stopping. He was right. 3 days later, I get served Karen suing me for harassment, illegal fencing, emotional distress. That's when Steve, her husband, shows up at my gate. Looks like he hasn't slept in a week. I'm sorry, he says. She's convinced your land is ours. Keep saying your uncle tricked everyone. I tried to talk sense into her. She won't listen. He hesitated. I think she's planning something worse. Heard her on the phone about zoning violations and property seizure. My heart dropped. I spent that night watching from the window, shotgun by my side. 2 a.m, a car pulls up, headlights off, figure in a hoodie, bolt cutters at my fence. I filmed it, but no clear face. Next day, fence post is cut, note pinned. This land doesn't belong to you. Leave now. That's when the county started hitting me $500 here for unlicensed agriculture, $2,000 there for unauthorized dwelling repairs. Karen was using every trick, every connection. I went to the zoning office to fight it, and there she was grinning, chatting up the clerk like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. Just helping the community, she whispers, leaning in so nobody else hears. You're a threat to everything we've built. I told her, lady, I just want peace. She sneered, then leave. But the next twist came out of nowhere. I came home late one night, found my barn trashed, goats, spooked, generator knocked over, and get out now or else sprayed in red across the wood. That wasn't HOA games, that was a threat. Called the sheriff again. A young deputy walked. The scene shook his head. No cameras, no witnesses, but everyone knows who did it. He was right. I barely slept. The next morning I went public. Posted everything, videos, photos, letters on the local Facebook group. It blew up. Comments, news stations, neighbors backing me up. Even Steve posted everything he said is true. Karen doubled down. Next morning I get a legal letter, cease and desist or face defamation suit. My lawyer laughed. Let him try. Truth is a defense. That weekend a moving truck blocked my ranch gate. Workers unloading a giant sign, Welcome to Whispering Pines Ranch Estates. I stopped them, called the sheriff, and after an ugly showdown made them haul it away. Karen fired back, filed for eminent domain, claiming my land was community property. But I had a surveyor come out. He proved their own HOA fence was 15 feet over onto my land. Suddenly, I had the upper hand. That's when things got truly cinematic. Sunset, out by the gulch, I hear rustling, Karen gun in hand, standing in the shadows. You embarrassed me, she whispers. You called me a liar. You came onto my land. I tried to talk her down, hand on my phone recording, but she fired a warning shot, thank God not at me. I called 911, ran for the house. Steve showed up yelling at her to stop. Sheriff's lights flash, deputies swarm, and finally Karen's cuffed and taken away, spitting threats. News went wild. HOA president arrested for pulling gun on neighbor. Karen removed HOA in shambles and me still dealing with fallout. A week later, an anonymous email hits my inbox. Attached is a forged document, Karen's name at the bottom, trying to claim my uncle joined the HOA while hospitalized. My lawyer's furious, says this is criminal fraud, not just harassment. Days after the new acting president, Cynthia, issues more demands, and I find a hidden surveillance camera under a brush pile. Then, out of the blue, I get a call from a former board member, Ben, who hands me a USB drive full of HOA meeting recordings. They're all in on it, forging documents, plotting to force me out, planning to sell the land to a developer. That's when I stop defending, I go on the offensive. We file complaints, send evidence to the DA news station's HUD. The story goes viral online. Support floods in, but so do threats. One night my hay shed is set on fire, and an anonymous voice message warns, Should have kept quiet. Caldwell personally serves restraining orders to the board, and for a second I think maybe it's over. Then Steve comes by, hands shaking, with a hand-drawn map from Karen's desk notes on how to sabotage my fence hay shed and generator. She planned everything. I send it all to the DA, and the next day, unmarked vehicles raid the HOA office. Cynthia and Rick get hauled in. The county declares my ranch officially and forever not part of any HOA. But the threats don't stop. One morning I find a letter on my gate. She's not the last. I start finding buried boxes, photos of me meeting notes, lists of targets. I live stream the evidence, call out the board. Support pours in nationwide. A week later, another email, this time a confession from the HOA treasurer detailing the whole conspiracy. He names names, sends proof, even a taped call with Cynthia promising a developer payout. I turn it over. The judge rules for me $250,000 in damages, my land untouchable. And I use that money to start the Freedom Fence Fund, helping other folks take down corrupt HOAs. Whispering Pines disbanded, charter revoked. Karen's committed, Cynthia's sentenced, the town finally breathes again. My last act, a huge cookout, kids playing with goats. Neighbors laughing, a sky turning gold behind a ranch that nearly wasn't mine anymore. And I lean on the fence, arms crossed, finally at peace, at least until the next HOA tries to push someone else around. So if you stuck with me through this wild ride, do me a favor. Hit that like, drop a comment below, tell me where you're watching from, and let me know. Was I right to fight, or did I take it too far? Who really wins in these battles over land and pride? I'll be reading every word.